You've given too much. Said yes when your soul whispered no. Hidden your truth just to keep the peace. If you've ever felt lost in love, drained by silence, or unsure of who you've become, this is the video you didn't know you needed. Rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom, these 14 reflections are not lofty ideas, but clear, grounded reminders of the power you still hold. Each lesson peels back a layer of illusion and brings you closer to the clarity, strength, and peace you've been searching for. This isn't just about understanding philosophy, it's about living it. So before you scroll away, take a breath. Watch with an open heart. By the end, you might just see yourself, and your relationships, in a way you never have before. When kindness becomes a burden, we often give too much of ourselves in the name of love. We offer our time, our energy, even parts of our identity, hoping it will be enough for someone to stay. At first, they seem grateful, warm, appreciative. But slowly, the warmth fades. Messages go unanswered. Conversations grow colder. And the person you once gave everything to becomes a stranger. You find yourself wondering if your kindness was a mistake. But this is not just about them. This is about you. About what you choose to give, and what you allow to be taken. The truth is, not everyone will value your sincerity. Some will see it as weakness. Some will take what they can, then leave. You are not weak for caring. You are not foolish for trying. But you must learn the difference between giving and losing yourself. The Stoics teach us that peace begins with clarity. Clarity about who we are, what we want, and where our limits lie. When you give without limit, you teach others that your boundaries can be crossed. And when you chase after someone who does not value your presence, you abandon your own self-worth. Take a moment now. Breathe. Reflect. Has your kindness become a burden you silently carry? If so, it is time to take it off your shoulders. Not with anger, but with understanding, with strength, with self-respect. 9 mistakes that make you lose yourself, a Stoic perspective. In moments of heartbreak or confusion, we often search for answers in the wrong places. We look outward hoping someone will explain why things fell apart. We obsess over what we did wrong or what we should have said. But the Stoics remind us to turn inward. The path to peace is not paved by changing others. It begins with examining our selves. What are we allowing? What habits are silently eroding our strength? What boundaries have we failed to draw? This is not about blaming yourself. It is about reclaiming your power. Every decision you make in a relationship teaches others how to treat you. When you abandon your standards for the sake of connection, you send a message that you are willing to sacrifice yourself. That is where the damage begins. Not when they leave, but when you forget your worth. In this reflection, we will uncover 9 patterns that many fall into. Patterns that drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and leave why. Oh, you feeling lost? They may seem harmless at first, but over time they shape how you see yourself and how others see you. From losing your voice to fearing solitude, from giving too much to sharing too fast. Each choice carries weight. The Stoics teach that awareness is the first step to mastery. By naming these mistakes, we bring them into the light. And from there we begin the slow, steady work of becoming whole again. If you feel like something is off in your relationships, perhaps the answers are already within you, waiting to be seen. Don't lose your true self just to be accepted. There is a quiet danger in trying too hard to fit in. You begin by adjusting small things. The way you speak. The way you dress. The opinions you share. It feels harmless at first. Just small sacrifices to feel closer to someone you care about. But slowly those adjustments stack up. And one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. This is how you lose yourself. Not in one sudden moan. But in 100 tiny steps. Each time you silence your truth for the sake of harmony. Each time you pretend to be someone else just to avoid rejection. What remains is a hollow version of you shaped by someone else's preferences instead of your own purpose. The Stoics teach that living with integrity is more valuable than being liked. Seneca said that everywhere is nowhere. If you spread yours elf too thin trying to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, not even yourself. You were not born to be a copy. You were made to stand out, to lead with your essence, not your fear. So stop bending just to keep the peace. Stop hiding behind what you think others want you to be. Start asking yourself, what do I believe in? What kind of life do I want to live? Who am I when I am not trying to impress anyone? You do not need to be accepted by everyone. You need to be loyal to your true self. That is where clarity begins. That is where peace takes root. When love consumes your mind, what's left of you? There is a difference between loving someone and orbiting around them. Love is meant to be shared, not surrendered. But sometimes we fall so deeply into someone else's world that we forget our own. Their opinions become our compass. Their moods dictate our days. We stop building our dreams because we are too busy supporting theirs. You start to vanish slowly. Not physically but mentally. Your goals fade. Your clarity dims. The flame that once lit your path is now used to warm someone else. And in the process you forget what it means to be whole. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul finds peace only within itself. No matter how deeply you love another, they cannot become your center. If your happiness depends entirely on their presence, you are no longer living for yourself. You become a background character in a story that is no longer yours. Love should not erase you. It should strengthen you. It should be a connection between two whole people, not a lifeline for one to survive. The Stoics remind us that even in love we must stay grounded. Know your path. Tend your fire. Respect your voice. Ask yourself today, am I losing myself in any else's world, or am I standing firm in my own? And if you find that you have strayed, come back. Return to yourself. Love deeply but never forget who you are. No one deserves your inner peace as a sacrifice. There is a cost to constantly putting others first. At first it looks like kindness. You listen. You adjust. You make space. But slowly you begin to disappear. You stay silent when something hurts. You say yes when your soul says no. And over time your inner peace begins to crumble. The Stoics remind us that peace is a form of strength, not weakness. When you trade your own well-being for comfort of someone else, you are not being noble. You are abandoning the very thing that anchors you. Mental clarity, emotional balance, a sense of purpose, these are not luxuries. They are essentials. Imagine handing your only light to someone in a dark tunnel. Now you are the one left stumbling in the dark. That is what happens when you give up your peace to maintain someone else's happiness. You lose your direction, your stability, and eventually yourself. You were not made to be a background supporter in someone else's life. You are the main character of your own. Guard your mind like it is a sacred. Learn to say no when something does not align with your values. Choose stillness over chaos, reflection over reaction. Ask yourself honestly, am I sacrificing my peace just to keep someone else comfortable? If so, it is time to come back to center. Your peace is not a gift to give away lightly. It is a home you must protect at all costs. Don't let love turn you into someone lonely. Sometimes in the name of love we begin to drift away from the people who have always been there for us. The ones who know our past, who supported us when we were broken, who stayed when others walked away. Slowly we cancel plans, ignore messages, and let distance grow between us and the very roots that once held us strong. All for someone who may not be permanent. All for a connection that demands your world but offers little in return. This is how love sometimes tricks us. It whispers that one person should be enough, that they can replace everyone else. But no relationship, no matter how deep, can replace the foundation built by true friends and family. The Stoics teach us to value what endures. Bonds that are tested through time, hardship and distance. When we trade depth for excitement or loyalty for novelty, why we lose something irreplaceable. True strength does not come from isolating yourself. It comes from standing supported by those who remind you who you are. Ask yourself this: who are the people who lift me up, who tells me the truth even when it hurts, who has stayed when I had nothing? These people are not just part of your past. They are part of your backbone. Do not cut off your roots just to place a branch. The tree cannot stand without them. Neither can you. Is the time you give away really worth it? Time is the most precious thing you have. Unlike money, it cannot be earned back. Unlike possessions, it cannot be replaced. Once given, it is gone forever. So why do we give it so freely to those who do not value it, to conversations that go nowhere, to people who take but never return, to distractions that numb rather than nourish? At first it may seem harmless. A few extra minutes answering messages, a few more hours waiting for someone to show up or change. But those minutes become days, those days become patterns. And slowly you realize that you have built your life around someone who would not lift a finger to build something with you. Seneca once wrote that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. The Stoics saw time as sacred. Every moment should be used to grow, to reflect, to become more of who you are meant to be. Not to chase after someone who keeps running, not to pour your energy into a black hole of expectations. Ask yourself now, who or what is consuming your time? Is it helping you become wiser, calmer, more grounded, or is it leaving you anxious, distracted and hollow? Use your time with intention. Give it to those who add to your life, not take from it. Choose silence over noise, purpose over approval, clarity over confusion. In protecting your time, you protect your mind. Your past is a treasure, don't scatter it carelessly. Your past is not something to be thrown at the feet of anyone who asks. It holds your pain, your triumph, our lessons, your scars. These are not stories to be used as conversation fillers or tools to gain sympathy. They are sacred records of who you have become and what you have overcome. When you share your history too quickly, you hand over your most vulnerable parts before trust has been earned. And not everyone will treat those parts with care. Some may judge, others may use them against you. What was a source of strength can suddenly feel like a weakness in the wrong hands. The Stoics teach discretion. Not everything should be spoken. Not every truth needs an audience. Wisdom is knowing what to share and when and with whom. Your past belongs to you. It is not entertainment for others. It is a story for those who have shown they deserve it. Ask yourself this: do I share to connect, or do I are to be accepted? Do I reveal myself from a place of strength or from fear of being alone? Protect your story. Not out of shame but out of respect. You have walked through storms, climbed out of place. Most will never understand. That journey is not a gift for the careless. It is a truth to be honored. The price of always saying yes. Every time you say yes to something that feels wrong, you teach yourself to ignore your own voice. You convince yourself that keeping the peace is more important than your peace of mind. At first, it seems small. You agree to plans you do not enjoy. You stay silent when something crosses the line. You offer parts of yourself to make someone else feel better. But over time, these little yes become a habit. And that habit becomes a prison. You begin to live for other people's comfort. You start to fear that saying no means rejection. That setting a boundary means losing someone. But the truth is, people who only stay when you say yes are not really there for you. They are there for what you give them, not for who you are. The Stoics teach us that integrity is more important than approval. Marcus Aurelius said that if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. You were not made to be agreeable. You were made to be honest. Saying no does not make you cold. It makes you clear. It draws a line between compromise and self-betrayal. Ask yourself how often do I say yes when I mean no? How many times have I chosen guilt over clarity? If the answer is often, it is time to change. It is time to stop measuring your worth by how much you can please others. You do not need permission to protect your peace. You do not need to feel guilty for saying no. The more you honor your boundaries, the stronger your sense of self becomes. Respect starts from within. When you choose yourself, not with arrogance but with clarity, you teach the world how to treat you. Loneliness isn't as scary as living the wrong life. Many people fear being alone. They stay in unhealthy relationships not because they are happy but because they are afraid of the silence that follows goodbye. They ignore their instincts to avoid confrontation. They shrink their needs to make someone else stay. But in doing so they trade a chance at real fulfillment for the illusion of connection. Loneliness is not the enemy. Living a life disconnected from your true self is. The Stoics believed that solitude was a space for growth, not a punishment. It is in solitude that you hear your own voice clearly. It is where you remember what matters, what hurts, what you truly want. It is where healing begins. If you avoid being alone, you miss the chance to build a relationship with yourself. You rely on others to define your worth, to shape your identity. But what happens when they leave? Who are you without their attention, their approval, their presence? Ask yourself this: am I staying here out of love or out of fear? Would I still choose this if I were not afraid of being alone? You deserve a life built on clarity, not compromise. You deserve relationships that add to you, not ones that keep you from growing. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is sit with yourself long enough to remember you are already whole. Solitude is not emptiness. It is the quiet space where truth grows. Pause and see. How far have you come? In a world that pushes you to chase the next goal, the next milestone, the next validation, it is easy to forget how far you have already come. You measure your worth by what is me. Sing not by what you have endured. You overlook the quiet strength it took to survive days you thought would break you. But growth is not always loud. It is not always visible. Sometimes it looks like staying calm when you used to explode. Sometimes it is saying no when you used to please everyone. Sometimes it is simply getting out of bed when everything inside you wanted to give up. The Stoics taught that we should not rely on praise from others to feel accomplished. Epictetus reminded us that the greatest reward is peace of mind. When you pause to reflect, you begin to notice the progress at once felt invisible. You begin to see that even in silence you were moving forward. Ask yourself this: what have I overcome this year? What pain did I survive? What habits have I started to break? You do not need a trophy to prove your effort. The fact that you are still here, still choosing to grow, is enough. Celebrate the small victories. Recognize the quiet battles. Give yourself credit not for being perfect but for being persistent. This is not just surviving. This is becoming. True strength lies in mastering yourself. We often look for strength in the wrong places. In how much we can endure. In how many people admire us. In how little we show our pain. But real strength is not found in noise or in appearance. It is found in the quiet discipline of mastering your own mind. The Stoics believe that the one thing you truly control is your response. You cannot control the actions of others, the randomness of life, or the speed of change. But you can control your reaction. That space between. And what happens and how you respond is where your power lives. It is in choosing patience when anger tempts you. It is in holding your ground when fear tries to shake you. It is in staying calm when the world pulls you into chaos. This is not weakness. This is self-command. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Recognize this and you will find strength. It means learning to step back from the storm rather than drowning in it. It means speaking with intention rather than reacting out of emotion. Ask yourself now, where in my life do I give away my power? Who or what do I allow to control my peace? You are not weak for feeling. But you become strong when you can feel without being ruled. True strength is not domination. It is discipline. It is not about controlling others. It is about leading yourself. Don't just listen, take action. Understanding is only the beginning. You can read every book, watch every video, and reflect on every lesson. But if you do not act, nothing changes. Wisdom without action becomes noise. Intention without movement becomes regret. The Stoics believed that philosophy was not for debate but for life. It was not about sounding wise. It was about living wisely. Every day you are faced with moments where you can choose the easy path or the honest one. The familiar reaction or the thoughtful response. These moments shape you more than any theory ever will. Knowing your values means nothing if you do not stand by them. Wanting peace means nothing if you keep choosing chaos. Hoping for clarity means little if you avoid truth. Growth does not happen by chance. It happens through consistent, brave choices. Ask yourself this: what will I do differently today? What habit will I break? What boundary will I protect? What part of me will I finally honor? Do not wait for the perfect moment. Start now. With one decision. One shift in mindset. One act of courage. Action is how you close the gap between who you are and who you want to be. This path is not easy. But it is yours. And every step you take on it proves that you are no longer just listening. You are becoming. No one writes your life story except you. You were not born to live by someone else's script. You were not made to fit into their expectations, their timelines, their definitions of success. And yet so many people go through life reacting instead of choosing. They let others write their story page by page until one day they wake up and wonder whose life they are really living. The Stoics believed that freedom comes from living by your own values. Not from doing whatever you want, but from doing what is right for your soul. When you know who you are, you no longer chase approval. When you know where you are going, you stop fearing judgment. Your story is not meant to be edited by those who do not understand you. It is not meant to be watered down to make others comfortable. You are the author. You hold the pen. And every decision you make either moves you closer to the life you want or further away. Ask yourself now, am I living on purpose or by default? Do I make choices from clarity or from fear? You have the right to rewrite any chapter. To walk away from what no longer fits. To begin again, not because you failed but because you have grown. Your life is a book that only you can write. So write it boldly. Live it honestly. And never hand a pen to someone who cannot see your worth. Your journey is yours alone. The Stoic path is not about perfection but about presence, clarity, and courage. If these reflections spoke to something deep within you, let them be a beginning. Not just a moment. You do not need to have everything figured out. You only need to take the next honest step. Keep walking. Keep becoming.